Today, I'm exploring the historic neighborhood of San Jacinto, nestled in San Salvador's District 6. This area is best known for its iconic hill, a green rise crowned with monuments and surrounded by lush parks that whisper stories of the past. Every corner here is steeped in history, offering glimpses into the city's heritage. It's a beautiful and serene part of San Salvador, often overlooked by tourists. Yet, it holds some of the city's most fascinating secrets. Before we begin, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to some truly wonderful supporters. Carol, Laura, Terry, and Karen. Your generosity, kindness, and steadfast encouragement help make these adventures possible, and I'm deeply grateful for your continued support. Last week's top comment came from Carol, and I have to say I wholeheartedly agree. Iglesia El Rosario is one of those rare places whose beauty seems to defy both description and photography. I did my very best to capture it, but the truth is no camera can fully convey the experience of standing beneath those colors and that light. It's something everyone should see for themselves. To all who continue to share their thoughts, thank you. I read every comment, and they mean more than you know. Please keep them coming. I've started a channel membership. If you're interested, click subscribe and then join for more details. Welcome to the San Jacinto Culture and Recreation Center, a destination tucked well beyond the usual paths traveled through San Salvador. This expansive complex encompasses multiple parks, the former presidential palace, the military museum, and the monument to the national heroes and Memorial Plaza of national sovereignty. Though the heat here is relentless, the setting itself is undeniably beautiful. A tranquil landscape of ponds, sweeping greenery, and quiet spaces seemingly untouched by crowds. Aside from myself, tourists are non-existent. Even locals appear few in number. It feels less like a destination discovered and more like one quietly waiting to be found. A true hidden gem within the city. As you approach the Military Museum and the monument to the national heroes and Memorial Plaza of national sovereignty, you are greeted by a powerful inscription from Manuel José Arce, the first president of the Federal Republic of Central America. It reads, "The army will live as long as the Republic lives." There is something striking about encountering those words at the entrance. They serve not only as a quotation, but as an invitation into the past, a quiet declaration that prepares visitors for the depth of history held within these grounds and reflects the profound respect for which military service and national identity are remembered in El Salvador. I was really happy to find the snack shop because El Salvador heat remains undefeated and I'm dying for electrolytes.
El Salvador gained its independence from Spain in 1821. 2 years later, the provinces of Central America, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, and Nicaragua, joined to form the Federal Republic of Central America.
Two opposing visions emerged in the newborn federation. The liberals, who aspired to a federalist system akin to that of the United States, decentralized, constitutional, and infused with Enlightenment ideals. And the conservatives, who favored a strong, centralized authority reminiscent of the Spanish monarchy they had just overthrown.
In 1824, the liberals prevailed and drafted a constitution. A year later, Manuel José Arce, a Salvadoran war hero and ardent liberal, became the Federation's first president.
Power, however, proved corrosive. Once in office, Arce alienated his liberal base and drifted toward conservative positions. He dissolved the Federal Congress in a desperate bid to reassert authority, triggering a constitutional crisis. By 1826, neither chamber of Congress convened, mistrust festered, and rebellion ignited. The first president of the Federal Republic had plunged it into its first civil war, a conflict that consumed his presidency and ultimately forced his downfall. Arce spent his remaining years plotting a return to power, but his ambitions were never realized. The dream of a united Central America, like the man who first led it, was doomed to fracture.
In less than 2 decades, the Federal Republic of Central America ceased to exist, a short-lived vision of unity, scattered by rivalries and war.
I'm walking through the Memorial Plaza of National Sovereignty, making my way toward the imposing monument to the national heroes that rises at the summit of the grand staircase ahead. This place is strikingly beautiful, immaculately maintained, thoughtfully landscaped, and lined with manicured trees that seem to soften the world around them. Not a single piece of litter interrupts the scene. With each step forward, the sounds of the city gradually fall away. The traffic fades. The voices disappear. And now I hear almost nothing at all. I cannot believe I have this entire place to myself. The monument rises in a powerful, minimalistic, monochromatic palette. And somehow, the absence of ornamentation and color only heightens its impact. The restrained tones lend the entire space a solemn grandeur, allowing light and shadow to take command. It feels more dramatic this way, less distracted by accoutrement and more focused on memory itself, as though the monument asks visitors to reflect not on spectacle, but on sacrifice. It is dedicated to the Próceres of El Salvador. There is no perfect English equivalent for Próceres. The word embodies all those who, through action or spirit, fought for the cause of freedom, first from Spanish rule, and later from the dissolution of the Central American Federation itself. Tradition honors 12 heroes of Salvadoran independence, though you'll notice more than 12 names inscribed upon the monument. Many belong to a single distinguished lineage, the León family. Among those remembered here are Jose Matias Delgado y de Leon, the priest and physician revered as the father of the fatherland, whose remains now rest within Iglesia El Rosario, and his nephew, Manuel José Arce, who would later become the first president of the Federal Republic of Central America. Together, these figures and many others helped shape the identity of a nation, their names enduring long after their voices fell silent.
This entire plaza is a shrine to all of them, a silent testament to their sacrifices as well as their contradictions.
It is time to begin the long climb uphill toward the museum. As I make my ascent, sweating and steadily questioning my life choices, it suddenly occurs to me that this location was no accident. From this elevated vantage point, the view stretches for miles in every direction. In military terms, high ground has always meant advantage, visibility, awareness, and control. In 1898, the Salvadoran army recognized that value and selected this hill as the site for the barracks of the Legion of Freedom. Along the journey upward, visitors encounter a remarkable relief map of El Salvador, a sculpted representation of the nation's changing elevations and terrain. More than simply a map, it offers a tactile portrait of the landscape itself, revealing its slopes, ridges, valleys, and peaks. For military planners, such topography was invaluable, transforming geography into strategy. Long before soldiers occupied these grounds, Zapote trees once covered the hillsides, giving rise to the name El Zapote. Over the decades, this site became home to the 1st Artillery Regiment and later the Armed Forces Transmission Support Command. During the long and bitter years of the Salvadoran Civil War, fought between 1979 and 1992, El Zapote served as a military stronghold for government forces in their struggle against guerrilla insurgents. But wars end, and nations evolve. When the conflict finally concluded, both El Salvador and its armed forces entered a period of profound transformation. In 1993, the Ministry of Defense closed the barracks, and nearly a decade later, in 2002, the Military Museum of the Armed Forces opened in its place, transforming a site once shaped by conflict into one dedicated to memory, reflection, and history. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea the depth of El Salvador's military history was so extensive. Coming from the United States, this is simply not something we hear much about. Yet, standing here, it becomes immediately clear that this museum is far more than a collection of artifacts. It is a place of profound national pride. For anyone with an interest in history, this museum is a genuine treasure trove. Even more remarkably, admission is entirely free. Within its grounds rests an extensive collection of military vehicles, aircraft, and more than 35,000 artifacts spanning every era of Salvadoran military history, from the founding of the Republic to the present day. The collection ranges from uniforms, historical documents and photographs to paintings, insignia, statues, and flags, each carefully curated and arranged within galleries that guide visitors through the evolution of the nation's military story across distinct periods. As someone who is not particularly drawn to weaponry itself, but who has spent considerable time studying the history of El Salvador, I found this room to be the most compelling. El Salvador's story differs from that of the United States in that its history includes not only elected presidents, but periods shaped by military rule as well. Here, all of those figures stand side by side, whether democratically elected leaders or military strongmen, presented together within the same historical narrative. What struck me most is that this room does not attempt to conceal, glorify, or rewrite. It simply documents. It presents history in all its complexity, allowing visitors to confront the full story rather than a selective version of it. Perhaps that is why it became my favorite gallery in the museum. History feels most powerful when it is allowed to speak honestly.
I can't even tell you how many times I read online that El Salvador's military dissolved at the end of the Civil War. This museum is incredibly eye-opening. I knew that was incorrect, but what I didn't know is that not only did they not dissolve, but El Salvador has fought alongside the United States in so many wars. Thank you for that, by the way.
The final section of the museum feels as much like an art gallery as it does a military exhibition. The paintings and sculptures are deeply evocative, transforming history from a series of dates and events into something far more human and immediate. My eyes are naturally drawn toward the familiar faces of José Matías Delgado, the father of the fatherland, whose leadership ignited the first cry of independence in 1811, and his nephew, Manuel José Arce, who would later become the first president of the Federal Republic of Central America. Also honored here is Francisco Morazón, remembered as the second and final president of the Federal Republic, a man whose vision of a united Central America continues to echo through the region's history. Yet, it is Manuel José Arce, whose presence seems to linger most profoundly within this final gallery. Much of the space is devoted to his life and legacy, with numerous portraits preserving his image alongside depictions of his wife. And, perhaps most striking of all, this is also his final resting place. In a sense, the journey through history concludes where one of its central figures now rests, a quiet and fitting end, where memory and legacy remain in conversation with the present.
In 2003, the ash remains of Manuel José Arce, the first president of the Republic who was forced into exile, were laid to rest here amid the remnants of cannons and ideals that once defined this ground.
I'll never forget the things I learned within those walls. But, alas, the time has come to step back into the relentless heat, leave the quiet refuge of history behind, and make my descent down the mountainside toward my final destination. Would you visit San Jacinto Hill? Let me know in the comments. Since you've made it this far in the video, please click the like button. It helps, more than you know.
This beautiful edifice is the former presidential palace, not to be confused with the National Palace.
The United States has the White House. El Salvador has the presidential palace. The color may be the same, but the stories behind them are very different. The White House was built with the intention of becoming the seat of executive power. This place was not. Constructed in 1911, the building first served as a teacher training school before later becoming an academy for boys. It was not until the 1930s, when the military assumed control of the nation, that the structure took on an entirely new identity as the presidential palace. Its proximity to the El Zapote Barracks was viewed as a strategic advantage, transforming a place of education into the center of political power. For foreign visitors, admission costs $5 and includes a guided tour. I have a wonderfully kind guide who is doing her best to speak English, while I'm doing my best to speak Spanish. Between the two of us, we're making it work. The building itself is a remarkable testament to architectural refinement, blending the symmetry and grandeur of classical design with the graceful elegance of Art Nouveau influences. On the first level are the reception hall and the National Art Gallery, spaces that still echo with the sophistication of another era. These halls are available to rent for events, though, standing here, it feels difficult to imagine them as ordinary venues. The artwork alone is extraordinary. Honestly, I could spend an entire day here simply admiring each piece. Ascending to the second level, the palace unfolds into a sequence of magnificent ceremonial spaces. The Manuel José Arce Hall opens with glittering chandeliers, a portrait of the dying president, and a long conference table that once bore witness to decisions that shaped a nation. The Hall of Honor follows, also known as the Blue Room, though it is adorned with rich teal walls, ornate chandeliers, and elegant Victorian mirrors. Nearby lies the José Matías Delgado Hall, its warm yellow walls illuminated beneath elaborate chandeliers. And, finally, the Gerardo Barrios Hall, dominated by an imposing portrait of the president and general himself. The majesty of the presidential palace endured through El Salvador's golden age, and even through the years of civil conflict. Yet, like so much of this nation shaped by the Ring of Fire, it could not escape the force of nature. The devastating earthquakes of 2001 inflicted severe structural damage, ultimately leading to the relocation of the presidential palace to its present site in the neighborhood of San Benito. From the first cries for independence to the dream of a united Central America, from civil war to peace accords, El Salvador's history is one of resilience and reinvention. These monuments, plazas, and halls remind us that nations are shaped not only by their triumphs, but also by their struggles and contradictions. To walk through these spaces is to walk through centuries of ambition, sacrifice, and hope. A story still being written, and one we continue to carry forward. Stay curious, be inspired, find freedom, wander elsewhere. I'll see you in the next one.